You're on Zoom and it's like, you're on mute. You're on mute.
I know, and everybody has to be the one. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Just let them figure it out. Can't.
Just move on. Just nod and smile and move on to the next person.
Yeah.
So what is our goal?
I think, before we do that, tell me what you envision this being again. Just remind me.
I wrote that down and it was like really profound.
It was.
And I don't remember.
When we first talked about it, you wanted to kind of talk to other local business. This is like November of last year, like the year before last.
Yeah.
Talk to like other local businesses.
You don't
want to do that anymore.
I mean, I'm not opposed to doing that.
Yeah.
I just don't want that to necessarily be the goal.
Okay.
I just want to talk.
I like that. I think that's good. And I think you'll get local people if that works. And you'll get non-local people if that works. And
my kind of what I was thinking the other day, I don't know, I was listening to some other podcast and it was like you're 40 like me.
Yeah, I'm 40. 41?
40. 20. We're 20. I kind of was feeling like, I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't feel like I'm an adult necessarily. But I have moments lately where I feel like I am.
I get that. I feel like an adult when I say like things to my kids that my dad always said to me, like on or off the couch.
The commercials you're turning into your parents.
Yeah.
But like there's things that, like I'm working with you with the finances and stuff like that where it's like, oh my God, like I have to really think about these things, but I don't really feel like a full-fledged adult. And I still, like when I'm around other people, be it in real estate or whatever, I still have these like moments of looking at them like they know so much more than me, or like I haven't gotten there yet of like being a master yet, or really like having all this wisdom.
You're a master. You're like really good at your job. Really good.
So I think kind of taking it back to like what my thought was with this podcast is I feel like we're in this weird age where we're not like at retirement age where we've done all these things and like lived through all these different events where we can share all this wisdom, yet we do have all this wisdom, but we're so in the thick of it that I don't think we even get a chance to like.
She went in the vacuum cleaner. She's totally right. It's fine. This is like our test one.
Yeah.
It's our test.
We have a very tidy office manager. As I was saying, I feel like we are so in the thick of our careers and life and what we're doing that we almost don't appreciate how much we have done and how much we have completed and how much we know and how much we can actually share and the wisdom that we hold, because we're in the midst of doing it versus somebody like in their 70s or whatever who is like retired and like at the point where they can just enjoy the fruits of their labor and sit on that and like reflect.
Do you ever think you'll be the type of person though that'll sit on that and reflect?
I think it would have to be like I'm forced to.
Yeah. Like you'd have to be like in a home to actually get to that point. So I think you've got a great point there. Like now we could sit on it and reflect and have that accountability for somebody else to be like, hey, good job.
Yeah. And I feel like that comes out more in conversation. And that's kind of what my hope for something like this is whether it's business owners or whatever, just to like talk and like, what have you done? Why do you do it? And as we get to know each other and like, look at all the things you've done. Like, look at how like you've become this person that people that I like acquaintances that I've met and other people that like we have mutual acquaintances, they all say the same thing about you of like this calmness that you bring. And like you're great at your job and what you do, but there's just this aura of like your superpower is like calm, which is perfect for what you do with finances because that's such a stress for people. So to be able to be like, not even have to say a word, but just walk into a room and you already bring like this
Well, that's good. I'm glad I do that because I don't feel calm a lot of the times.
But
I
like,
feel like
I
scattered.
want to know like what, like that's partly just innately who you are, but your life and what you've gone through and what brought you to this point in your life through your career has created that. Like you've learned things and become self-aware enough that it's created this in you. So like what did that? Like what is that wisdom to share, right?
I think I'm reincarnated from somebody else who gave it to me in the past.
From an 85-year-old woman?
Probably, yeah. Who like lived a great life and I just was able to absorb that.
So
I really think it just
you were like a grandma in a past life.
Think so. Yeah, I feel like that sometimes today. But yeah, I think so. And I think, you know, I was lucky enough to be born into a family who supported me, and I was lucky enough to be born into an area that I didn't have to worry about where is food coming, you know, what's happening the next day. I had a lot of stability in my life. And I think even with that, my parents still showed me that not everybody has this, so it made me appreciate it more. And then being able to kind of internalize that and be like, well, it's not the end of the world if something happens. You can make mistakes. You can fail at things, and you can fail at things again and again. And when you do, and when you give yourself that grace to fail and to fall and to not do things right, it makes it a lot easier. Yeah. You're able to go in and be like, well, I hit a curb today, blew out my tire. It happened twice in a week one time, you know, but it's okay. It's just a tire.
Yeah.
You know.
But I'm sure at some point in your life you weren't able to take things like that so easily necessarily.
Yeah. And I remember when we were in high school, because we were probably in high school at the same time. You remember all those like Scarlets who were like, they were being hospitalized for exhaustion. Now I know they weren't being hospitalized for exhaustion, but I remember being in that time frame and being like, how do you get hospitalized for exhaustion? Because I feel that right now. I feel exhausted and I push and I push and I push.
You felt like that in high school?
I did. You didn't feel like that?
Exhausted in what sense? Like, I guess I wasn't that good of a student.
I felt I like distinctly remember the feeling of being like, yeah, like I get that.
Like with your academics?
Yeah, and I had a job and I had good friends and I had stuff I was doing and I danced competitively and I just
we had very different high school lives.
Yeah, I got up at 4 a.m. and practiced the piano because I played the piano, you know, all of those things.
I was wondering how many days I could skip and still pass.
That stresses me out. See, there we go. There's like, maybe that's it. Like, maybe I let go of that idea.
I'm not going to let my son watch this.
Yeah. Don't do what we did. Maybe I let go of that idea of perfection. And I think that really helped me a lot. And I think I took time off when my kids were born and I wasn't going. I was just focused on that moment. And now when I think of going back to that idea of going, that idea of perfection, I'm like, I can't be that person that my kids see. You know what I mean? Like, I can't always do things perfectly. I need them to see things falling apart. I need them to see the pieces coming back together. Right,
because what do you teach them if it's always like, you're always getting it done, and then you're going to set this standard, and they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm not as good as mom. Wow. And if they fail, they're going to want to hide.
Exactly, and you don't want that. So I think kind of looking at it through their eyes now and making sure I'm not the person who, I do still feel exhausted, but I think that's because I'm in my 40s now and not 18. But I don't feel like I need to be hospitalized for exhaustion anymore.
Who was hospitalized for exhaustion?
Yeah, wasn't like Lindsay Lohan.
I think she was hospitalized for drugs.
I know, but they said exhaustion, so that's what I wanted to say for me too. Yeah,
she's doing so well now.
Is she? I have no idea.
She is. Yes, like she's back in the limelight and stuff. I'm like so happy for her.
Oh, good. She was great on Parent Trap.
I love that movie.
too. Do you watch the original version ever?
I did. Yeah. It was good. But I mean, we grew up with the Lindsay version. Yeah. I was so jealous of her red hair.
Were you?
I was. She was so cute. I was like, I want red hair and freckles.
Did you really? That's funny. I did not.
Oh, that's so funny. We'll have to dig into our
psyche,
high school careers. How very different we were.
We were. That's real. I would have expected you to be like, oh no, I got straight A's. I did it all.
No. So my sister got straight A's and was like top of her class, whatever, cum laude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the terms. I remember my science teacher, it was his first year teaching. We got along great. He pulled me aside at the end of the year and forced me to count all the zeros next to my name in his grade book. And then he had me count all, like, when I did have a grade, it was never lower than a 90.
Yeah.
It was usually, it was 90s to 100s. And he had me count all of those. And then like, I had to like tell him, he's like, now, why do you have all those zeros? Was it because you didn't do well on work or because you weren't here? Like, because I wasn't here.
And doesn't it stress you out that like 100 is canceled out by a 0? It just cancels it out.
It just didn't.
All that hard work.
No, like at the time, I just saw that it was like, wow, when I am here, I can still manage to get 100.
Oh, that's not a good life lesson, I guess.
But I also like squeaked by that class and like barely passed it because of that. So it was like what is wrong with me? I could have done so much better. And
Nothing's wrong with you. It's just.
Well, that was the beginnings of learning about ADD.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't get stressed in that way about it.
God, it causes me so much stress. Even today, like, even thinking back to like, I'm like stressed out about it just talking about it.
I'm glad you've overcome some of that.
I still hold on to some of it though too. I still do that.
Yeah.
Like I carry, we talked about this before, is I carry work back and forth all the time because I'm always like, I could maximize my time tonight. I could sit there while they're watching TV and I could do work, or I can get up at 4 a.m. and I could do work.
Those things exhaust me.
Keep going. I don't always do that. I'm lucky enough to say, oh, it's 7:00 at night. You're done.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I get stressed when I'm sitting there knowing that I'm too tired to do anything, but yet I could be doing something. If I turn the TV on, it's about 5 minutes of enjoyment, if that, and then I'm like, I could be doing something.
I only watch one TV show.
What is it?
Big Bang Theory. Over and over again when I get in bed. That's the only show I ever sit there and watch.
If I need a mental break, I put on Friends.
Yeah.
And it's always on either TBS or it's now on Nick. It's on Nickelodeon.
I know, it doesn't make you feel old. It's Nick
well,
at
I'm
night.
Like, this
remember?
isn't appropriate. Yeah. This isn't appropriate for children.
Yeah. Well.
But it's like a comfort of like, I know somewhere Friends is going to be on and it's going to be a marathon. And I'm like, ugh. And it's like that. I can not pay attention, but pay attention and just chill.
That's it. Yeah, that's why I do the same thing with Big Bang. I just own all the seasons on Amazon.
So you don't have to. Again, it's on TBS.
I know, but I bought them already, so I own them. So just continually go through it constantly.
Do you watch it in order?
Yeah, but they kind of like just play in the background, like when I'm getting ready for bed and stuff.
That's like your comfort. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, this has been lovely.
This worked out great. I think this is comfortable, sitting like this and having a conversation. I'm interested to see what the camera picks up. Like, this is a super probably awkward angle. I probably like.
I don't think so, because it's like straight on.
Yeah. My knees are backed up. So I'm interested to see what that looks like, but I think this is good. I don't mind holding the mic.
A few times you're like this.
I know, because I talk with my hands and it's hard.
Yeah. But we'll see what it sounds like.
Cool. It's getting heavy, though.
Okay.
It's a heavy mic.
Goodbye.